Welcome to Not Starving Artists, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Benson, money coach and equity actor. I am your financial cheerleader, here to help you build your financial confidence and have power over your money. The best part, no budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. I went from being a broke BFA grad having weekly panic attacks about money to a financially confident, wealth-building actor and business owner. Money gets to feel fun, simple, and sexy, and I am going to show you how. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of my podcast series, Inside One-on-One Coaching. Now, I've done one of these series before, and what you're about to hear is a real-life coaching call with me. Why I wanted to do this series again is because I think it's really important for you all to hear how money gets talked about behind closed doors. Now, just so you're aware, every single person who you are about to hear inside of this series has consented to being on the podcast. They came into the recording knowing exactly what these recordings would be used for. So with these coaching calls, there's a few reasons why I want you to hear them. One is because I think it's important to hear that we all have so many of the same money narratives that we're trying to work through, financial struggles that we're trying to work through, right? You're not special, but in the best way, right? In the most liberating way. That's one of the reasons I want you to hear these. The second thing is I want you to hear how much we can accomplish, whether it be mindset or tactical, can be accomplished in just 30 minutes. Each of these coaching calls was a 30-minute coaching call. And most of these people I had never worked with before. So I want you to hear how much we get through in just 30 minutes. And I want you to hear that as just 30 minutes of intentional focused time on your money can yield so much results. Okay. There's this huge misconception that getting your money shit together is going to take hours and hours and hours and so much time and energy and all of this stuff. And sure, maybe some methods, maybe some financial advice that is out there. Yes, that would be the case. Not here at Not Starving Artists, baby. We got too much art and too much change in the world to do to let money take up too much of our life. So I'm so excited for you to hear these coaching sessions. If you yourself are interested in one-on-one coaching with me, you can find all of the details at the link in the show notes. You can also find it at notstarvingartist.com under the tab One-on-One Money Mentorship. Now let's get into it.
How are you?
I'm good. It's so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. I've heard very good things from my friend Lydia.
Ah, I'm so glad to hear that. Lydia's so great. I'm glad you found me through her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we dive in today, I'm so excited to coach you. I read your intake form, but can you tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you live, what's your vibe?
Um, let's see. I live in New York. I do wardrobe for theater, on Broadway, and I like to run. So a lot of money goes towards that. I haven't done it in a while though.
Yeah.
Go to concerts, travel,
Are you a K-pop
eat.
person as well?
I'm not.
No, not a K-pop concert person. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so as we dive in today, talk to me about what you want coaching on. I know you said debt initially, so we can continue moving in that direction if you'd like, but go ahead and share with me what you like today.
Yeah, the big thing is like getting out of credit card debt. I'm almost done with my student loan, so I'm not really stressed about that. And but also um once that stress is like a little bit further down, like learning more about investing, learning healthier financial habits and building a nest egg for for between gigs and for the future also. Like I don't know if I want to do this for forever or like for how long, but that way I have like a good, set up for whatever life brings. So I'm
Yeah.
not stressed.
Yeah, of course. So talk to me about your debt then. Tell me more about it.
I have just one credit card. And then, pandemic, like I was at a really good, had little on it, and then pandemic happened. I was in Florida with my parents and I did okay. And then I came back to New York for not a theater job, but just like a different job. And then I had to like rely on it. So I've gotten it down. It's about 16,000, which is
Mhm.
always hard to say out loud, but also I'm like, yes, I'm gonna face it.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, yeah, huge. Let's just like
yeah.
pause there for a second. That's incredible that you're able to say that number, right? And be like, yes, I'm going to talk about it. I want to move towards neutrality with it. That's amazing. That's a huge win, even just being able to say that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So with that balance, we're going to talk like strategy first because I always want to go to the tactical side to figure out where the emotional and mindset work needs to happen from what the numbers are saying. So,
Hmm.
to start, talk to me about your income, like your current income, outflow, inflow, outflow of like money coming in, money going out. Are you having to still put things on the credit card right now? Are you still using the credit card? Give me that info.
Yeah, I know that's part of it is like to not use it. I do still use it, like my gym membership is on there and stuff. But it's getting down. And I try not to, like, if I'm getting new tennis shoes, I try to be like, I have the money in my checking or like savings or what have you. Or I saved a lot of my tips from my last show. So I have those and I'll just, re shifting. So I've been trying to like not use it for any of like uh frivolous isn't the right word, but non-essential things.
I know what you mean.
Um with
Cool. Can
yeah.
I ask a tactical question about your student loans? Are you paying the minimums on
Mhm.
your student loans?
For a long time I was, and then I started just like paying a little bit more, especially on my last show. I was like, this is a good time to put like more and more. Like I have under 1,000 left on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Great. I actually want you to go back to only paying the minimum on your student loans. Why
Okay.
I'm saying that is because even though they might feel like a bigger burden, the interest rate on student loans are much lower than on credit cards. So I would actually rather that extra money go into your cash in your bank account to give you more safety or putting it towards your credit card minimums, right? And
Okay.
especially now that you're almost close to paying it off, great. Like let the minimums just then run their course.
Okay.
Right? So that's the first tactical thing. Second tactical thing, I want you to stop using that credit card. So when it comes to paying off debt, there's this five-step process that I use with my clients. So the first step is to stop using the card and set up
Hmm.
the minimum payment on auto pay. Okay, so that's
Okay.
that's the first step. Second step would be to focus on making sure that what's coming in or the money that you have in your savings, if you're in between gigs, that you're able to support yourself with your current cash flow, right? So let's
Hmm.
get you to like break even point. Okay. So as you're breaking even, right, what's coming in, what's going out is the same. Then you can focus on increasing your income or decreasing your spending to like create wiggle room, surplus, right?
Hmm.
If that surplus, we're going to stack your savings account. So we're going to get you 3 months ahead on bills so that if you're in between shows and in between jobs, you don't have to put more
Hmm.
money on a credit card, right? You can use the cash in the bank. And then after you have money in your savings, then you can increase more going towards your credit card debt than the minimum in
Hmm.
order to continue to pay it down. So that's how you pay off debt and then stay out of debt, right? If you don't
Okay.
want to be in debt, that's the process that gives you the longevity. What's coming up for you there?
No, that totally makes sense. I was, I don't know if this is a stupid question, like using, like, say I switched my membership payment to my debit checking account. Is that a safe thing?
Yeah.
I keep watching, you see things about like hackers and stuff, and I'm like, oh,
Talk to me about the safety fear. Talk to me about the hackers. Like tell me what your brain is telling you right now.
I was just probably overthinking, and I'm like, I don't want anyone to steal my identity and my bank accounts because there's not a lot, and I mean, there's enough that I don't feel as stressed as I have before, but like, it's I don't have a ton in savings. It's just fear.
For sure. So, two things here. One, like we can acknowledge it's fear and we can acknowledge that that's a more rare circumstance. And two,
Hmm.
we can say, okay, that's a real fear. How are we going to like tactically quell that fear? Right. So, one
Hmm.
of the things is the account that you're using, like your debit card from, all of your
Hmm.
money isn't sitting in that account. So let's say that account does get hacked, they can't hack into your
Hmm.
savings, right? So if all of your money
Okay.
is sitting in your savings and only the amount you need for that month is in your debit account, right? Then you've got safety in your savings.
Okay.
Second thing we can do to like tactically quell that fear is what's your credit score right now? Do you know that number off the top of your head?
Um, I don't. I just looked it up the other day, and it was my boyfriend was like, "That's a really good credit score. It's like seven something."
Great.
Um,
So,
yeah.
because you have a credit score that's over 700, you're actually most likely going to be able to open a new credit card that you can use as your month to month spending. Why I'm saying that is like this credit card would be utilized as a debit card. So every single month you're paying off the balance in full, right? So that would be a way to
Hmm.
separate your debt from your month to month spending. So your month to month spending, you can see,
Okay.
am I breaking even? If you want even that
Hmm.
extra layer of security in case it gets hacked, but either way would work for you.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. What's
That
coming
makes
up?
sense. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I have another friend. She's like, just open another credit card so like you can focus on. I was like, I know, but it's just dragging my feet about it.
Sure.
And I guess
And
like, there's so many different credit cards out there. Like what is like a safe or like I can't think of the right words, but you know what I mean. Like a helpful one. Like I saw I think like your post the other day about like using credit card points and stuff and like what is a helpful credit card.
yeah, definitely. So when it comes to credit cards, so when you've heard me talk about like points and sign-on bonuses, that's what I call lazy girl travel hacking. Like we don't want to be in the full travel hacking realm, right? But like lazy girl travel
Yeah,
hack. But also
exactly.
lazy girl travel hacking is also super optional, right? Like I think in the
Hmm.
space, in the Instagram, TikTok space, it's like if you aren't utilizing travel points, you are wasting money. You are wasting thousands of dollars. It feels very like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong if I'm not utilizing points. That is
Yeah.
absolutely not true. It is an optional strategy. Also, what I will say is while you're paying off debt, I want points
Hmm.
and travel rewards out the window. Like that, because the interest you're accruing by having debt is gonna make points and travel rewards kind of a moot point. So like I just don't want you to worry about it and think about it, and then you can implement it
Okay.
later. So a good card, right? Like a standard card that you could open. There's like three, I mean, there's more than three, but there are three banking institutions that have very simple standard cards that you could open. What's the current credit card you have?
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo. Okay, cool. So,
Hmm.
Chase, American Express, and Capital One. Those three banks have really good, like standard run of the mill, just easy peasy cards that are really easy to get approved for. So I'm gonna
Hmm.
actually look this up with you. I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna do a
Thank
little,
you.
yeah. So let's do Chase credit cards. Okay. So, um, can you see, or is that sharing my whole screen right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So right here, so I'm looking at Chase right now. And what I'll say, I
Hmm.
want to give a background here is when I say Chase, Capital One, and American Express, I want you to think about like the peanut butter aisle. And in the peanut butter aisle, you have like Market Pantry or Great Value peanut butter, like that's a brand.
Hmm.
And then you also have um oh, what's that almond butter
Like
brand?
Jiffy or
Yeah, so
oh
then we've got both Jiffy, Peter Pan, right? You've got all those brands. Now, each of those brands
yeah.
has their own creamy peanut butter, natural peanut butter, chunky peanut butter, low sodium peanut butter. So what I want you to
Flavored.
Yes, exactly. So Chase is the brand, and then each of these cards is like the crunchy peanut butter, the creamy peanut butter, the all natural peanut butter. So every brand is going to
Mhm.
have their version of creamy, crunchy, low sodium, whatever. So like choosing Peter Pan or Jiffy, very low stakes decision, kind of like choosing the lowest tier Chase credit card versus the lowest tier American Express credit card. So if we look at some of these options, like these are the most popular ones, but the ones that I want you to be looking
Mhm.
for, not travel cards, not business cards. Let's look at, I'm going to click on view all of them. So we're looking for no annual fee. Those cards where you're not paying an annual fee, those are kind of the standard like like the house vodka, this is like the house credit card. So annual
Okay.
fee $0, that's what you're looking for. So we've got Chase Freedom
Mhm.
Unlimited, Chase Freedom Flex, I guess Chase Freedom Rise is one of them. And that's really the only thing you need to look for, because the APR, the interest rate you're going
Mhm.
to be paying on it, will be irrelevant for this kind of card because you're going to be paying it off in full every single month. That's what I want you to be.
Mhm.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
APR actually doesn't matter because you're not going to be accruing interest. Now, the
Okay.
cash back, so this is like a little credit card learning. Cash back,
Mhm.
standard is like 1 to 3% cash back. So this one,
Okay.
cash back, 1.5% standard, right? Run of the mill.
Mhm.
This one is like 5% cash back, but on like rotating categories. So I usually say if you don't really if you're just like, I just want the creamy peanut butter, it doesn't matter. Go for like the standard unlimited 1.5% cash back on whatever the run of the mill card is. Uh,
Okay.
and then again, like this is a sign-on bonus. You don't need to worry too much about this either, because again, you're using this as a debit card. You're not using it to like get a bunch of travel rewards and travel points as a sign-on bonus. But that's what this
Mhm.
means. Earn $200 after you spend 500 in the first 3 months. You'll probably get this anyway, right? If you're using it as your standard card to put everything on. But that's
Mhm.
what to look for, and then you would apply for it. And what I also like to do is I'll do Chase Freedom Unlimited, and then I'll type in Nerd Wallet. Okay. So
Mhm.
NerdWallet is a great, they're like a blog publication that does reviews and like
Oh.
comparisons of all these different financial products. And so
Mhm.
you can always like add NerdWallet into something you're researching in the financial realm, and it's gonna give you like an overview. So
Okay.
why I'm saying to look this up is because usually they'll have this recommended credit score, right? So
Mhm.
someone between 690 and 850 is most likely going to get approved for this card. So because you're in the
Okay. Cool.
700s, you can look at that and be like, "Oh, I'm most likely going to get approved, so I can feel okay." Like your credit score will take a slight ding because you're applying for a new card. It'll take a slight bump down, but
Mhm.
it's okay because you're going to get approved for it most likely, right? Rather than like
Mhm.
applying for a card you won't get approved for, then your credit score goes down and you don't even have the card to like utilize.
Mhm.
Questions tactically on all this. We just did like a little mini crash course on credit.
No, that totally makes sense and like was very clear. Thank you.
Of
Because that's like one
course.
of the things I'm just like, oh God, and like
Yeah,
I've heard that before, about like applying for a credit card, kind of like dings your credit score, but it's just like a small amount that will go back up again.
exactly. So the
Okay.
reason that your credit score goes down when you apply for a new card is because there's a piece of your credit score called hard inquiry. And that just means like you have tried to get a line of credit. So if you have
Mhm.
too many of those hard inquiries at one time, then the credit institutions are like,
You're
this
like,
person doing some shady shit. Why do they need so much not real money? Why do they need so many
mhm.
loans? Like they start perking up their ears. So if you just have one or two, though, it'll bring it down a
Mhm.
little bit. but then having another card open will actually increase your score over the long term. So it ends up evening.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So, okay, so going back to initially, like when we're talking about the debt. So
Mm-hmm.
you applying for that card and using that card as your normal spending card, or using just your debit card and your standard, like a standard checking account to spend
Mm-hmm.
from. And so you can put a hard line between you, right, and your current money and your past money, your debt, right? And we can just
Mm-hmm.
set that minimum amount on auto pay, right? And it'll
Mm-hmm.
just, it can take
Just
care of itself.
okay, cool.
What else is
Wow.
coming up here for
That was
you?
the most like clearly that's ever been explained. Thank you.
I'm so glad to hear that. Um,
Yeah.
so the other thing that well, before I continue on, what else is coming up for you right now? Like with all this information, with that 5-step process, what could you
Mhm.
see as a roadblock? What's still confusing to like actually moving forward with the debt payoff plan?
No, that makes a ton of sense. So, and like this summer, like I finished my last show at the end of June, and then in theory, I never trust that a show is like real until paper is signed and like we're in the theater. But
Right.
in theory, it's starting like load in would be mid-August and we start in the fall or
Mhm.
like first week of September. And I in the meantime I'm doing like day work at various places and stuff. So there's like a little bit of income, but like basically I'm not stressed. This is helping me like be like, okay, it's all manageable, it's all figure outable.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. So the next step here is I want you to be super clear on what you spend month to month to month. So
Mm-hmm.
the two different numbers I want you to find are your firm number and your flex number. So your firm number is your rent, your bills, your utilities, your gym membership, anything that's on auto pay, right? All
Mm.
your credit card minimum would be one of these expenses. Your firm
Oh,
number.
okay.
And then your flex number. That's groceries, eating out, shopping, anything that you spend money on that isn't like a new couch or like a flight or a vacation, right?
Yeah.
Those would come out of savings. But your firm number and your flex number, and your flex number, I want you to find the average of. Now, you can find the average by just averaging out your last 3 months of flex spending. So you can go into your bank statement, your credit card statement to find that. And you're going to
Mm-hmm.
add those two numbers together, and that's your baseline number. So let's say your firm number is 2000 and your flex number is 1500, then your baseline
Mm-hmm.
expenses, like what it costs to live as Priscilla month to month to month, is $3,500, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
you
I
know
was just actually like doing it in my head. I was like, that's
that's
like roughly roughly right.
cool. Okay. So then with that
Yeah.
number in your head, now you know like when you get a new gig, when you get a new job, or if you're between gigs, like there's less like question mark, I don't know, I hope I have enough money. And it's, do I have
Mm-hmm.
$3,500 that I can put into my bank accounts at the top of the month so that I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be okay for the next month? Do I have 3 months of $3,500, so $10,500? Do I have $10,500 in a bucket in my savings account titled my
Mm-hmm.
on deck buffer? So when I'm in between gigs, I can still pay my rent and not have to put anything new on the credit card. You're giving yourself like the
Mm-hmm.
tangible numbers so that the confusion and the fear get dissipated, even in fluctuation. What's coming up for you there?
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And like, yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts, feelings that are coming up for you right now?
No, just thank you for explaining it all very clearly. Like this is this is really helpful. Like I had like a meeting with a financial advisor that friends had told me about. They're like, he's great, but it's like more for like opening Roth IRAs, and then like he wasn't didn't make me feel great about like the situation. So I was hesitant and frustrated.
I'm so sorry that you had that experience and that like reinforced maybe some feelings that you were
Yeah.
already feeling. And
Yeah.
I want to tell you about financial advisors, and this is true, and I'm going to make a generalized statement, but I've also interacted with a lot of financial advisors and a lot of tax professionals. Financial advisors and tax professionals are so focused on the numbers, they forget bedside manner. They forget human behavior. They forget that there's so much more to money than just the numbers. So when a financial advisor is trying to figure out how much they can invest for you to earn their commission, right? Because a lot of them are commission based, that's how they get paid. When they see a credit card debt that's accruing interest that is not paid off, what they see is that's less money to be invested. And I don't like that. That's bad. Investing good. That's the binary. Figure it out. Get on a budget. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to money. You know this. We know this. Like money is so much more than just that. So the energy
Yeah.
we're feeling from that financial advisor was coming from that place. It was like very financially focused, numbers focused, good, bad
Yeah.
to do. Does that make sense?
Totally. Like he was like nice, but then I just was like felt so defeated after it, and I was like, I don't feel great.
Um,
And yeah.
yeah. And so, yeah, I'm not saying these people are bad people. So many of them are so nice
Oh,
and kind, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to offer you here too is because I know you mentioned investing at the beginning of our call. Investing is on the way for you, right? Like this is just the first step, like paying off the credit card debt is just one of the things that you're doing on the way to financial freedom and financial wellness. What I want to show you
Yeah.
here, I'm gonna do, I hope you can see that.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, let me do a clean page so it's more visually, you can see it visually better. Okay, here we go. I usually have a virtual one, but I'm stuck in Florida and I don't have my virtual tablet, so I have to use pen and paper, old school. So I want you to envision like this is the timeline of you, okay? So this
Mhm.
point is where money first came into your consciousness, right? When you were a kid and like your parents gave you an allowance, you're like, oh, dollars have value. And then this is when you
Mhm.
die. Okay, so from money coming into your conscious to when you die, and you're somewhere about
Mhm.
here. Okay, so when we're talking about what you're doing right now, which is figuring out your break even, right? Like what's coming in is what's going out. Your current cash flow is able to support you. You're right here in the middle. You're taking
Mhm.
care of present you. When you are then putting money into your savings account to get 3 months ahead on bills, you're taking care of this little future version of you, right? Who's in between gigs, who's going to need
Mhm.
some savings, or who wants to go on a vacation, right? That you're taking care of that version of you. Now, debt, right? Paying off debt is you moving this arrow backwards, right? So you're taking care of the past version of you who had to borrow current you's money in order to survive, make it through a pandemic, make it through the upheaval that went into our artistic
Mhm.
industry. Okay, so that's this
Mhm.
arrow moving backwards. Investing is when you start taking an arrow from death towards current you. Okay. Because the more you invest, the closer this arrow gets to come to present you, right? Because you're taking
Mhm.
care of you in your older age, right? Up until now.
Yeah.
So financial freedom means every single version of you is taken care of. So what that means is just every arrow touches. So the entire
Mhm.
timeline of you is covered with arrows. All the arrows are touching. So why I'm doing this visual is because every single piece of this is important
Mhm.
to your financial freedom. Bringing these arrows closer together is just as important as focusing on these arrows here, right? So there's no
Mhm.
arrow that gets more highly put on a pedestal than others. There's an order of operations, right? Because present you needs to have the most focus and attention now. But at the end of the day, investing just as important as paying off debt. And paying off debt
Mhm.
is just as much of a part as financial freedom as investing is, right?
Mhm.
So I just want to show you that you focusing on current you and then paying off your debt is you moving towards financial freedom. It's all part of the timeline of you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. What's coming up for
That
you
makes a
there?
lot of no, that makes that I love that was a great visual representation.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Thank you.
All right, Priscilla, any last things before we hop off today?
Um, no, that was everything. Thank you.
Yes.
It was really nice to meet you, Brooke. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Come join me on Instagram for more on how to build a simple, sexy relationship with your money. My Instagram handle is @NotStarvingArtists. And if you want to dive deeper with me, head to the show notes to learn more about one-on-one coaching. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend that you want to get rich with.